Well, the longest tenured coach in North American sports, Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has stepped down. We're going to talk about not just where the Steelers go from here, but are the Steelers headed for something they've never experienced before? Could they be in trouble? We'll get into that today. A reminder, hit that subscribe button. Keep this podcast free. We appreciate you joining us and supporting us. And you can do that for free by subscribing for free. Hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, it would just help us grow. We appreciate you joining us as always. Stability is what I think about in the Steelers organization. Having worked in this league for 40 years now, a little longer actually. The Steelers organization do things the right way. They don't react to situations. They don't deal with the scuttlebutt and the media pressure and the fan pressure. They stick with who they stick with. Chuck Noll was hired 3 days after Super Bowl III. Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, this is an organization that before they hired Chuck Noll was a disaster. It was a laughingstock. I mean, it was a franchise at the early stages. They didn't know if they were going to even make it. It's, under the Rudies, the most stable franchise around. But Mike Tomlin, after 19 years, has stepped down. 2 years left on his deal. He was making $20 million a year, by the way. In the meeting with the players, he told them their decision in his most eloquent way, I'm told, as he normally speaks. His players gave him a standing ovation. No one was more respected by his players, by other players around the league, and just in the league in general than Mike Tomlin. Why is he leaving? I think the combination of the frustration of the postseason, which has led to, quite frankly, a lot of people in the media and the fans to say, it's time for a change. We got to move on. We've lost umpteen number of games. We can't be competitive in the playoffs. All of that's true. Those are facts. Be careful what you wish for. Again, the Steelers, the Rooney family, not going to fire Mike Tomlin. I have not been given any indication that there was any pressure from within to say, we might need to move in a different direction or this or that. They did not do that, from my understanding. This is all about Mike Tomlin. I think it was because of the negativity in the modern day world. And I think he just had enough of it. The lack of appreciation, as if he was a guy that couldn't win anything. Never a losing season. When you take a team that does not have winning record talent in most cases, in many of those years he had, when he won 12, consistently he took teams at or above their talent level, went from a win record standpoint as anybody in football. You can't ask for more than that. The problem in Pittsburgh is that roster's not gotten better. His involvement in it, you can certainly look inside to that, but I think because they don't have a true football guy, Omar Khan is a cap guy, and they don't have strong football guy there helping from a scouting standpoint, it's hurt this organization. And it's, quite frankly, forced, in my opinion, Mike Tomlin to do a lot more with less, with the idea that people think, well, he's not getting it done because he can't win in the playoffs. He shouldn't have been in the playoffs half of those years. A lesser coach wouldn't have got him there. Look, he had his 200th career win in Week 16 against Detroit, tied Chuck Noll for all time. Now, it's just the fourth head coaching search since 1969. Some were surprised. I was surprised. I didn't know that he was going to step down, but I understand why he's doing it. and why the frustration has been there. For the people that have been critical of the organization not winning, that's fair. But the problem is affixing blame, and I always say this in searches or evaluations of coaches. When you don't understand the reason why a team, college or NFL, are winning or losing, there's a fundamental lack of ignorance as who's responsible for what and what's really getting done. All people understand are the results. The results don't matter. What matters is what creates the result. What is the reason for the result? That is the key to determining when a move should be made, what type of move should be made, whether it's improving what you have within. They had plenty of time to kind of fix things with Mike there. I can tell you this. I say this with no ambiguity whatsoever. They will not find a coach as good as Mike Tomlin. They will probably not find one half as good as Mike Tomlin. And I think it could lead to something with the Steelers that we've not seen, and that's the lack of stability. The New York Giants always join the Steelers with their ability to be consistent, to be prudent, to not overreact, be patient, and they've gone some tumultuous times over the past 20 years or so. Steelers are the last bastion of consistency, stability, and I think they could be headed in the wrong direction because the reality is, unless they fix this roster, which if they had done that, you could see and know that Mike Tomlin, if you give him 10-win talent, he's going to probably win 12 games. If you're going to give him Super Bowl talent, he's going to get to the Super Bowl and likely win it. If you give him, team that's capable of making the divisional round, and he's probably going to take it either there or further. Look, Andy Reid was fired because he couldn't win the big one until he got some of the pieces that were lacking in Philadelphia for him. Could he have done for Philadelphia what he's done in Kansas City? Absolutely. He didn't do it. Different people. Sometimes voices are going to change. Politics get involved, and there you go. But you're not going to get a coach as good as Mike Tomlin. He consistently got as much out of his team as possible. Where do they go from here? It's going to be real interesting. All hands are going to be on deck in terms of what they're going to look at. I do think, while people feel like the stability is going to help them, and I think it can, it's going to be maybe the most coveted job in the league because of ownership. I've talked about in previous shows that what are the best jobs? Well, the most important thing in an NFL job is the owner, number one. Number two, the owner. And number three, the owner. They've got that in Pittsburgh that is better than anybody. But don't have a quarterback. They've got a roster that, again, the expectation is, okay, let's find somebody that can win in the playoffs. I don't think you're going to have to worry about losing in the playoffs anytime soon in Pittsburgh, folks, because you ain't going to be making the playoffs. And it'll be interesting to see, where they can go. There's a number of places they can go. Look at some of these top coaching jobs around the country. The Steelers have always been able to find that guy and then stick with that guy and support that guy. They did it with Cowher, and if you remember, Bill Cowher, it couldn't win the big one. We need to move on. Tomlin comes in. He does a great job. Same thing applies to him. But the concern I would have is, are they going to be able to hit again? Some of the people that were involved in previous coaching hires and decisions are no longer in the Steelers organization. In some cases, not even around anymore, having passed on. But Art Rooney II is certainly there, and he's got a good feel for things and is going to do this in a very prudent way, and we're going to see. I hate seeing it because I hate seeing the Steelers organization, in this case, Mike Tomlin, being affected negatively by the press. And I think that, quite frankly, nationally speaking, most people in the media recognize how great Mike Tomlin is. And I think it's more the local media that, quite frankly, you would think have a better understanding of how things work and why they worked and what needs to be done to fix it. I get their frustration, but I think they're going to look, history is going to show that Mike Tomlin was a lot better than a lot of those Steeler fans were calling for. Appreciate you joining us. Hit that subscribe button if you would. We appreciate you being with us and spreading it, the word, liking, sharing. Hitting that subscribe button helps to keep it free for us, and it's free for you to do so. Join us next time. We break down another topic in football. Have a great one, everybody.